Happy Tuesday to everybody. As you guys can tell by my story, it is Taco Tuesday, and I appreciate everybody voting on a poll I had posted about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks. And I was surprised on what won out of everything that I had posted on or noted on there. Business won out of everything that I had picked as an option, and figured I'd do a business video today. So, what can I tell you guys that I've learned recently? So, you know how they always tell you to learn from your mistakes? Well, I encountered a client. So, they hired me for the design work. They paid me 50% of the cost up front, and then they would pay the other 50% once I finished. So everything was smooth, everything was quick, and then all of a sudden things start to go sideways. So client is, I won't say names, but the client basically is getting insurance money for, they had a flood in their house, so they're getting insurance money to do some of the backyard work, or they're going to try at least, which is kind of sketch in the first place. But anyways, long story short, they asked me to provide them a couple different estimates for conceptual plan that I normally create first, and then I try have the client agree to a conceptual plan. So then, before I get into all the details and plant names and material cost and material list and this and that, like, doesn't make sense to get all that detail done if you don't have a conceptual plan together. So it took a while for a conceptual plan to be put together, probably like 4 changes in the conceptual plan, which is, I think, ridiculous. But anyways, then they weren't happy with the price, right? They were like, it's over our budget. Okay, well, your budget, I don't know how you got your number, but your budget isn't enough, because I still hadn't given them a number until I did. And then it was over budget based off of a number that they took from the air. They just grabbed it. Okay, I want to spend this much, without actually getting estimates, which is funny that people do that. But anyways, so overpriced. So how do we get the cost down? Well, you have to remove this, and you have to remove this, and you have to remove this. But we want all that. Okay. So if you want all that, it's going to cost you this much, right? Like, I can't help you there unless you remove stuff. So then we come to an agreement. It's like, okay, we'll shrink this, minimize that. Okay, cool. We want landscape lighting. So landscape lighting is a must. Okay, cool. Landscape lighting is a must. That puts them above their budget again. Why is it over our budget? Because you added landscape lighting that was not on there when we got it down to your budget, but then you added lighting to it. So it ain't gonna get installed for free, and it ain't gonna be purchased for free. So that's why you're over budget again. Then they asked me for a request that's not normal. So they asked me to separate the total estimate into 2 estimates, one for the insurance company and one for them. So the insurance company one, they're trying to get some money back from the insurance because the house got flooded and they had to basically use the backyard as a hosting area. It got destroyed, and then because it got destroyed, the irrigation of water turned off, so then now the plants died and need to be replaced and whatnot, right? So that said, I was like, all right, cool, I'll accommodate this for you guys, no problem. Accommodate it. Then they come back at me saying, we agree with everything except your payment terms. Okay, so our payment terms are simple. Our payment terms are 10% with the signed estimate, 40% at the start of the project. So we're at 50% by the time we start, because we got to purchase a lot of materials, which is sometimes can be half of the cost of the project, right? So 50% when we start, not before we start, when we start, and then 30% halfway through the job, and then 20% at the end of the job when we do a final walkthrough with a punch list and everything, right? So we get the leverage up front, and then they get the leverage on the back end, which is what you want the client to be protected, right? So if we don't finish our job properly, then they have 20% of our money, which is typically our profit. So of course we're gonna do whatever it takes to make them happy. So yeah, so that happens. And then they write in how they want it to work, how they want me to word my payment schedule. And this is a red flag, right? So I respectfully replied to their email. I made changes and everything, but I made the changes according to my terms. They wanted to have these payment schedules that benefits them all the time. And so I'm like, no. I'm gonna put a stop to this. I then modified the estimate as they wanted it. I modified the payment plan as I saw fit, which had what they wanted in. So 10% down or $1,000, whichever is less. So they wanted to put down $1,000 deposit. then they wanted to pay per, as a job was finishing, they wanted to pay for it. So, okay, cool. Or as it was being done. So I was like, okay, cool. So basically I broke it down like this: 10% down, or $1,000, whichever was less. So 1,000 was less. Then it was 50% at the finish of the estimate, or sorry, 50% at completion of the bench, which was part of the one estimate. And then it was 50% at completion of the pavers, which was the second part of that estimate, which is tricky because that's where it gets complicated, right? So if I would have done it how they wanted it, we wouldn't have seen all this money until we were completely done with this part, right? And then we have to put up all the money for the materials and, you know, run the risk of them not paying us. So I'm like, nah, it ain't happening. So anyways, send them a respectful email. That was, I don't know, 36 hours ago. And basically it said that if they did not agree with the payment schedule, which stated what they wanted part of it and what I want part of it, right? And then I said, respectfully, if you don't agree with my payment schedules, then I will respectfully have to withdraw from the possibility of doing your work, which at this point is red flags. Go with your gut. Basically, when I started this video, I said, learn from your mistakes. One client that did that to me, which questioned our payment schedules, it was a headache, a nightmare to try to finish it because they were so unreasonable when it came to when we were going to get paid and what they thought was completion of this and completion of that. So then I was like, this is bringing back memories. So honestly, if I don't get the job, I'm okay with it. It's only a $25,000 job. So it's not like, my God, it's $1 million job, right? Even if it was $1 million job and there was all these red flags, imagine all the stress that you would get if you just basically let them bully you or tell you what to do, you as a licensed contractor, legit, and them trying to tell you how the law works, but then them doing some sketch stuff to try to get some insurance money, which is, yeah, I ain't gonna say it. Well, hope you learned something. I did. I'll keep you guys posted if I do hear from them or not. I haven't heard from them yet though.